Hello, Tamily. It is time for Ask Tamily episode 103 with Alexandra. Her Instagram name is alexandra.elp. We'll be connecting in just a moment. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm so excited for this.
We are too. It's the most exciting thing of the week to me.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being willing to be interviewed for episode 103 of Ask Tamily.
Thank you.
And we will ask you some planned questions, and then we'll also check the chat periodically and see if there's any live questions in there. But let's go ahead and jump in with our favorite question, which is when and how did you start with the Tracy Anderson method?
Oh, what year is it? I'm like, it was 2011.
Oh.
It was winter. I had seen the Oprah episode and got curious. So I was only 22.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow, that's an early start for
Yeah.
method. It's so perfect.
I had danced for years and quit, and I played a lot of soccer. I was super bulky and didn't like it, and gained 25 pounds in high school because chocolate milk and cookies was a balanced diet. And so when I saw the episode, I said, let me give it a try. I tried out the 30-day method, just the workout, not the diet. The extreme diet. And then that was winter. By the spring, I was completely ready for metamorphosis.
Awesome. So did you do the 90 days of metamorphosis in a row?
I did not. I did take rest days here and there, but not working for some reason.
Okay.
After that, and then started streaming about 4 months after she started the streaming program. And
okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what workout do you do at this?
So I had a baby 10 months ago. My baby girl's therapy.
Oh.
Yeah. So now I'm finally back to Attain. I've been back on Attain exclusively for since about the beginning of May. Before that, it was fundamentals, and obviously when I first got back in after I was cleared, it was beginners. Yeah. So it feels good. I finally feel back into that rhythm of Attain now, which is really nice.
That's fantastic after having a baby 10 months ago.
I can't believe it sometimes.
Yeah, it's especially the level that Attain is at now, like to have a 10-month-old and do Attain, that's amazing. It really is.
And yeah, it totally took discipline, but if I had been doing a different workout during pregnancy and a different workout post-pregnancy, I don't think I'd be at this fitness level I am now. I think it speaks to the method for sure.
Oh, for sure. Oh my gosh. And it speaks to starting when you're 22. Like if I could have started when I was 22, that's like the whole thing of my whole life that I wish, that's the only like regret is that I started the method at in your 20s. That's so fantastic.
Yeah.
What workout did you do while you were pregnant? Were you still streaming?
I was still streaming, so I stayed streaming throughout. It was fundamentals for a long time until finally just one day I went to do one heavy weight leg lift and I just said nope. I'm like, we're going down to beginner, and that that was at around 7 months pregnant, and then it was beginner until literally I think I worked out at 7 p.m. and then went into labor at 4 a.m. like a few hours later. Yeah. Like
so awesome. So what is your routine now? Like, especially having a little baby, how do you fit the workout in, and how often do you work out?
So I'm really lucky to be in Canada and have a full year of maternity leave. So I'm still on maternity leave, which I'm so lucky to have. So obviously that changes everything, because I'm not fitting in a job or work from home in addition to being a mom and working out, right?
Yeah.
So really, I mean, she's an angel. She's the best sleeper. So that first nap is my non-negotiable. So it really is, unless scheduling needs us to have her nap somewhere else that day or have me on the go for appointments or whatever it is, that first nap every day, I'm doing something. It's not attain every day. It's definitely attain at least 5 days.
Okay.
But other than, even if it's just like arms or a 20-minute cardio routine, like something like a low impact cardio, something like that, even if it's something, it's something, because I know I'm better for it.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my gosh, you have such a wonderful story. That's so fantastic. Do you use heat and humidity at home?
I have finally been able to restart it. So when my husband and I got married and moved into our little 1-bedroom, this was in 2017, I was kind of just working out in an open space. So I went from having my brother's old bedroom at my parents' house, where I had like my whole cave set up and full heat and humidity, preheated at all times. And then I got married, moved out, and I was kind of in just a living room doing what I could. So it was, since 2017, I didn't have humidity, and we upgraded to a 2-bedroom plus a den, which that den is now my cave. And I've been back on heat and humidity since we moved in at the end of April. Okay. And I missed it so much, and it's so good to have it back.
So what do you feel like the differences are since you've experienced it both ways, like especially for people who don't use it at all?
It's kind of like a cup of coffee. there's energy that comes from it, that I didn't realize until I was without it. It definitely, I mean, you need the electrolytes for sure to get through it. But there's this sort of like rush that comes from that extra heat and humidity. And we already get a rush from the workout. So the heat and humidity is like a doubled rush. And then of course, like the skin benefits, things like that, that are just kind of the added bonus. But the way, just the energy level is my biggest thing.
So I want to ask about your results, but obviously you've been, doing the method for almost a decade. What was it like in the beginning from a results perspective? And then also, after pregnancy and stuff, what did you see about results then?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, right? Because it's been so different throughout. So like I said, I gained about 20 pounds in high school. I started high school right after I quit dance. And I was playing a lot of soccer in the summer months, which was great cardio. But I'll never forget my coach saying to me, he's like, come on, use those tree trunk thighs. And I was like, oh, not the greatest thing to say to a 15-year-old girl, who obviously has other things going on and other influences through media and whatever. So that kind of stuck with me. And then like just genetically, like hips and thighs and butt are genetically just larger in my genetic makeup, right? So I obviously, when I first started working out, I basically only done the soccer. When I stopped soccer, I knew I had to start something else. So I went with sort of very like high intensity cardio, which let me shed that extra weight, but just bulked me even more. And I remember blow drying my hair one day, and my brother walks in and says, "Whoa, your arms are out of control," because my biceps were just huge. And I said, "Okay, I don't think this was my goal from all this." And then that Oprah episode just kind of fell into my lap. And I said, "Okay, this is what I want." And then hearing Tracy's story that she's 4'11" or barely 5 feet, as am I, and had a very similar body type growing up and a very similar struggle with weight, I said, okay, this is it. This is what I've been looking for. And so metamorphosis, I saw huge results by the time I started. I'd say continuity 2. Year 2 was when I really said, okay, wow. Like looking back at pictures, you don't realize when it's so gradual. And then I said, oh my gosh, like things have just completely transformed, right? And then once streaming started, it just sort of revved it into high gear. And then when I was pregnant, it was amazing how that strength that I had kind of like hoarded over all those years really supported that. So I was obviously continuing the workout throughout helped, but very few aches and pains. Still a long delivery, but a delivery that I had the endurance for, which was that's my biggest piece of gratitude for the method, was I had the endurance for 36 hours that didn't result in a C-section. And that was a huge testament to the method for sure. Not just the physical endurance, but the discipline it gives you to just sort of push through, like I can do this, the self-positivity, and just the really kind of being in tune with your body. And then post, I had a fairly smooth recovery. When I did jump back in, it was very light and very easy. Definitely eased myself in, but to say 10 months later, it could be the sort of pride that comes from the fact that I made a human in this body, but I'm also kind of honoring my physical health and things like that through my workout. I'd say I'm more proud of my results now than I was the first time around.
Wow. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Especially knowing, like you said, you made a human. That's a really big deal. And to have like a good, strong, balanced body to support that, really makes a difference for obviously your health and your baby's health and everything too.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. For sure. So being that, you started the method like before Instagram existed, how did you find the Tamily, and how did you, first connect with people in the Tamily?
When the message board closed, that was the continuity message board. If anyone remembers it, that day that we found out the message board was going to be closed, everyone was like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I've never been kind of super, I had never been really and as many of us were, I was never super active on Instagram. And then when we said, okay, we're taking it to Instagram, then that was, the platform just exploded. And it was so much more than just the message board where we'd kind of ask each other questions. Like now it became our chance to really sort of connect and inspire. And it was, I think, 2016. I've never been to a Vitality Week, but in 2016, I attended the Move to Cure event in Miami with Tracy. And all of a sudden, that was the first time I had put faces to Instagram handles, right? And that was amazing. So it was all of a sudden you're meeting friends for the first time. We've never met before, but yet we're friends. Like we're really good friends. And it just, I mean, it boggles my mind still, but that the way we were able to kind of take it from just kind of a mundane message board to something like this in less than, in less than 5 years is just insane to me.
It really is. It is the most amazing community. And I feel like it only gets more amazing. I mean, especially because we've all connected virtually even more than we were before.
Yeah.
With, the world and everything that's going on. But yeah, it is the most amazing community on earth. It is like such an incredible thing. And I think it's so helpful to, like anything in life, having this connection, even though it's supposed to be about a workout, but it becomes like so much more than that.
For sure.
So who in the Tamily inspires you?
Oh my gosh. I just want to say everyone. Well, the Ask Tamily team, first of all, the fact that you ladies stay committed to this every single week, take time out of your week to organize it, plan it, iron out any technical difficulties, and then make it happen. That takes additional discipline on top of the discipline you already have in other aspects of your life. So that's insane, in the best way possible. But I think of it's so hard to choose one person or a few people because there's, ladies with full-time jobs, men with full-time jobs, more than one job, full-time parents, working parents. It just, I mean, the list goes on and on of how amazing it is that we all stay so committed, not only to the community, but to the workout, a workout that's not easy. That inspires me every day to say, wait, hang on a second. If they fit it in their day, why can't I? Right. And that really inspires me. But then it goes so far beyond the workout, like we talked about. Like there's so much inspiration in so many other ways. We've seen so much resilience in so many people, especially recently, that I get inspired every time I open my feed.
Yeah. I feel like I would have experienced like this time and everything that's happening and changing in such a different way without the Tamily. Like,
yeah,
I can't even imagine what that would be like, except that I think it'd be terrible. Like, I can't think of like any way that it would be good. Like, there's so much benefit, to having these connections.
For sure.
So you did get to meet Tracy then at the Move to Cure. Did you get to talk to her?
I did. We bonded over our height. We both kind of were eye to eye and just were in complete awe that we were the same height. And then kind of she continued with a Q&A, and that was because back then, although streaming had just started, there wasn't yet the after class lectures. And so it was the first time I had heard these sort of little nuggets of, when you're on your back doing abs, ensure that both feet are alive and engaged, even though one is working and one is not working. And it was just kind of these little tidbits that I was absorbing. I was just in absolute awe. And I wish I had brought a notepad and kind of wrote everything down. But that was the first time I'd kind of experienced a lecture like that and experienced a Q&A like that. And then, of course, there was a breakfast before the workout, and we all got to kind of drink coffee and eat breakfast and take pictures with Tracy. And she was like a swan. walking in. I can't even explain it, just like a swan gliding in, like radiating. It was like, I think of it as if like the way my daughter sees things, just with like bubbles and lights and just pure joy. And that's just kind of what she exudes, right? And the way she sort of just glided into that room and embraced all of us, gave us every single person a hug, made sure she connected eye to eye with every single person. Like that just really speaks. It speaks to even the way she kind of pushes to connect with us all today.
How many people were at that event then around?
At the breakfast, I think there were only about 15 of us.
Oh.
And then the workout was larger. And then the same group the same group that was at the workout came to the Q&A afterwards. So it was there was kind of a close-knit group, and then those that showed up just to work out. And then we went back to that close-knit group afterwards. But it was just it was this like whirlwind half-day event that all of a sudden I blinked and it was over, and I'm like, okay, I need more. Yeah. So I still have a Vitality Week on my bucket list for sure.
Have you ever been to a studio?
I have. I've been so lucky to basically, even if it's a stopover, I will find time to get to a studio. I've been to 59 and Tribeca a few times, and then stopover on the way to Hawaii on my honeymoon. I left my husband for 2 hours on our honeymoon.
That's awesome.
And went to Studio City for a workout.
That's fantastic.
And then he waited outside with the car. We got back in and continued our journey to Hawaii. But yeah, literally on a stopover, I went to Studio City. So yeah, so those are the 3 I've been to, and I can't pick. Well, I think if I had to pick a favorite, I think Studio City.
Okay.
I can't even explain why. It was kind of an energy, a vibe. It could have been the mindset I was in when I went there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's fantastic. That is really awesome. What keeps you motivated to work out on a regular basis?
The way it makes me feel, and it's kind of beyond the physical. Obviously, that's kind of an extra reward, the energy and the stamina I have to kind of be running after a little one. But I'm just a better person for it. I think I'm a better mom for it. I'm more patient. Even if I get 15 minutes, I'm definitely, it's a brighter day if I get my workout in. That's for sure. Especially during kind of when we were in like full self-isolation, in kind of at the dead end of winter. It was a must to kind of keep those spirits high and be able to give to everyone else around you. That's definitely what I've learned. And for me now, especially as a new mom, I think it's kind of become a non-negotiable, because I mean, so many of us know how hard it is that first year of motherhood, especially those first few months. So it's become a non-negotiable because I know what it does for my mental well-being as much as my physical, for sure.
Absolutely. That's like the part that you definitely can't live without. It's just, I think it's so funny that people come to it all the time for the physical, and then like, at least, I mean, sometimes maybe only a couple months in, but especially people that have done it for years, they're like, this is for my mind, like so much more than just the physical results.
And then even going back to when, for when I go back to work in the fall, but thinking when I was working full time and fitting in my workouts, I was a better employee. I was more productive. I was just more efficient, everything. because of it. So
yeah, absolutely. What is something that you've learned from Tracy?
So much every week, but more, I guess the biggest thing, and I think it kind of resonated with me, especially after having a baby, and sort of the body image or feeling of like having lost your body a bit, especially in the few months immediately following, or even during pregnancy, the feeling that you've kind of lost control of your body. There's someone inside you that's kind of pulling the reins, and it's not you anymore, right? The biggest thing was that she says it all the time in different ways, that there's no perfect body, but there's the best version of you. And that's really what you have to be striving for. And, you know, so I know the best version of me is the best mom who is forever going to have a droopy belly button. And I love my droopy belly button because it's a testament to what I carried for 9 months and now have in my life. So, but it's the healthiest me. It's the happiest me. It's not the legs I look at and want anymore. It's kind of my best version of me. And that's the biggest thing for her.
Yeah.
I just saw Aggie said, love my belly button. I love my belly button.
You guys are so great. Excellent and body images for sure. So I was just checking to see if we have any questions in the chat. We have millions of people that have given you hearts and smiley faces. But if anyone has a question, please type it in. And let's see. Do you have any workout partners?
I don't. Okay, so when one of my visits to the New York studios was on my bachelorette weekend, and I dragged all my bridesmaids to, and back then there was no Fundamental, so Fundamental hadn't been released yet. This was just a straight Attain class, and they came with me, having never experienced a studio, having never even, one of my bridesmaids had kind of done some arms workouts on YouTube with Tracy, but never having gone through a Tracy Anderson workout. And I brought them to a 10 a.m. Attain after a night out the night before, and they powered through it. And so they were my favorite workout buddies those days. But no one I've kind of convinced into joining with me. My husband did do arms with me a few times.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love that. I ask my husband all the time. He won't do it. Have you faced any challenges in doing the method?
I'll go back to the postpartum thing for sure. Those first weeks after I restarted was kind of, before I got pregnant, it was like cardio a couple times a week, Attain every day, and just knowing you got it, right? And then and having that time and being able to say, okay, I have that time, right? That's my time. But now my time is being controlled by someone else, right? So it took me, I'd have to say honestly, like a couple months where I had to be okay with getting in what I could get and being proud of that. Because I would get defeated at the beginning if I didn't finish a class, if I only got my right side in on legs, if I only got arms in and then she woke up from a nap and I had to stop. If there was a move I tried to do and couldn't do it, because after so many years, I was just used to, you know, going through the rhythm on that first day of the class, and then I got it and I'm flowing through it, no problem, right? But all of a sudden, you know, maybe this isn't the class for me this week, and having to realize that. So that was my biggest challenge. And now for me, it's just saying, okay, do something for yourself today. If it's a full class, amazing. If it's only arms, amazing. But choosing to be proud of it. That was my biggest challenge at the beginning, because I definitely felt defeated, but don't anymore.
That's such a good lesson. Like, we can say so many negative things to ourselves about, you know, not finishing or not being able to do a move or something, but to make the point about be proud of what you've done, like that's the perfect lesson.
Yeah, for sure.
So Aggie has a question. She's the best question asker for Ask Tamily. She said, what was the lesson you learned from your parents?
It's really funny because I've been asked this question before at work. I interview people, and when it's their turn to ask the interviewer questions, this is in a job interview. A lot of people have asked me that, like, what's your biggest lesson learned from people who inspire you? And I say my parents inspire me most, for sure. It goes back to the pride thing about being proud of what you do. And my dad's biggest thing is don't stop until you're proud of something. You're not finished until you're proud of something. So it wasn't, in a way, it's kind of a don't give up, don't quit attitude. But you can keep doing something your whole life and be good at it, but not necessarily be proud of it. And so his biggest thing that he still instills in me today is be proud of it. Even if you back off and quit, if it's not right for you anymore, were you proud of the time you spent with it, no matter what it is you do?
That's excellent. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for asking that. That was a great question.
Aggie has another question for you. Let's see what this one says. Okay, I'm not sure if I understand this. Oh, she's not asking something. She said, what a treasure to learn and take with you on your life journey.
For sure.
Definitely. Okay, let me see what we have to ask you next. You've answered so many questions already. What advice have you received from someone in the Tamily that was helpful to you?
Oh my gosh, I don't even remember the specific giver of the advice. But I remember when I first got pregnant, and I was still kind of actively using Facebook. I won't lie, I haven't really been using Facebook much lately, but I asked the question on Facebook, any advice for kind of a newly pregnant woman. Oh, that's my little one. It's almost nap time. He's back in summer walk because it's starting to rain. And the biggest piece of advice was just listen to your body. So don't necessarily follow a prescription of what it is you need to do. You get pregnant, don't do dance cardio. Or if you get pregnant, stick to beginner or only do fundamental. It was really do what feels right to you that day, because every day is so different. And that was my biggest thing. That was definitely my biggest thing. Some days I could only do arms, right? Because energy levels are always changing. So that was the biggest piece of advice. And I think it was so helpful because then I wasn't pushing myself too far on a given day, but I also wasn't selling myself short on those days where I did feel good.
That's such a good one because, I mean, people want to, like, of course, they want to be helpful, but they want to give, like, a lot of rules and stuff about what people can do. Not just, pregnancy, but in other circumstances too. And I love it that Tracy's like, it's your body. You decide.
It's your prescription. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, you have to have an honest conversation. Like, don't kind of let yourself off the hook to not, do what you can do. But that's excellent. Yeah. Whoever gave that advice was a fantastic.
I know, and I cannot remember who it was.
They might be watching right now.
Exactly. If you remember who you are, please speak up.
So do you do dance cardio in your routine?
I love it. I don't do it every day, so I wouldn't say it's kind of a hard and fast part of my routine. But at least twice a week. I try to get at least 15 minutes in. just because for me, it's such a fun escape. I fell in love with it doing continuity. And then when it got added into the streaming sequences or into as an option on streaming, I was so happy. And suddenly we had all these dances that I'd never been exposed to that were happening in the studio that suddenly I got to learn. And I definitely mastered them. I didn't do any dance cardio while I was pregnant.
Okay.
And then, so I just restarted it. I just started feeling good doing dance cardio about 2 months ago.
Okay.
So I've just started up at it again. And it honestly, it amazes me how it really is like riding a bike. All of a sudden the combination starts and my body is just remembering the combinations without, all of a sudden, like this part of my brain just turns on and all of a sudden I'm doing a combination I haven't done in 2 years. So it's really amazing, but yeah, only about twice a week at the most is when I'm able to kind of get in 15, 20, if I'm lucky, 30 minutes, depending on the length of the mat class.
That's the amazing brain part of the workout for sure. Yeah. What do your friends and family think of the method?
Sometimes I get messages saying, what's that workout you do again? Where can I find it? Should I do the 2 weeks free? And of course, I'm the biggest advocate for it. And, you know, oh my gosh, I wish everyone would kind of join along, but I do get laughed at a bit, especially by my brothers. I'll never forget when I started it and we were all still living at home. It was before we kind of all moved out. And I would be doing like my continuity and then my dance cardio in front of the fireplace. And for like some sort of heat. And my brothers would be teasing me. They're both older than me. They would be teasing me like crazy, saying I look like, I don't know, they're saying like, oh, that dance move is, you look like Deion Sanders, or what are you doing here? Why is there a chair in front of you? What is that ball? When I asked my dad to help me make an air hoop, that was like a whole other level of teasing that I got. When the broomstick was introduced and my mom wouldn't let me use any of her brooms, I think I used like an old stick we used for like a piñata at a birthday party. I got a lot of teasing, but everything's kind of quieted down now because I think everyone sees like how much hard work it is and how much discipline it takes and how it really does work. So yeah.
It's so funny that you say that, like about the making fun of it and stuff, but then they really do realize the benefit. Like my family just will have a space for me to work out when I go visit them. They're like, we have a spot for you. You know, it's just so funny that it's like, well, you're going to make fun of it. Like, what are you doing with your arms? And then you're actually going to be like, made sure that you can get your workout in. Where do you live and what do you do?
I live in Toronto, Canada, on the north end of the city. And I'll actually show you guys.
Oh.
I live in this like really nice condo complex.
Oh.
I love our view. And
I
there's
love
a pool down there that we haven't been able to go in because it's still closed because of COVID. But yeah, I was born in Toronto. I grew up just outside the city, and then we moved back when we got married. So my parents and in-laws and my brothers, everyone kind of lives in the general vicinity, which I'm so lucky for. And I am, aside from being a mom, when I go back to work in the fall, I am in finance, which is not exciting. I lead an awesome team of communications advisors for financial advisors. So yeah, I'm excited to get back to my team. Definitely.
Yeah, I bet with like that long of maternity leave, that's so wonderful, but it must be like Crazy.
It'll be a challenge to get back to for sure.
Yeah.
And we don't even know if we'll be back in an office by then. So
Right.
everyone may still be working from home. So it'll be interesting. I may have to not only be adjusting to going back to work, but also trying to figure out work from home life. So we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you met any of the Tamily that live in Toronto?
No, I know. It's crazy.
Have to.
I have to. And we have to have a meetup for sure when all this craziness is over. Toronto is hopefully entering into phase 3 in the next few weeks. And we have to do like a park meetup or something.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
The heat and humidity outside right now in Toronto is really ideal. So yeah, Toronto Tamily.
Yeah, we'll have to post about that. So we have a question in the chat from someone who I don't know. I'm not sure how to say this name. Still Sean something. It says that she's only 5 months in to the workout, I think. Anything you've learned later in your TAM journey that you wish you would have learned sooner? That is a great question.
That's a really good question. I think I'm going to say it again. Be proud of what you can get in on whatever given day it is. I was really hard on myself at the beginning. I was like, okay, so when I started continuity, it was every 10 days, I start a new workout. So what happens if I miss a day? What happens if I have to skip a day? Definitely self-discipline, but don't self-discipline for the sake of the workout, self-discipline for how it makes you feel. So on those days where you do your workout and you feel awesome, you feel energized, you feel accomplished, you just generally feel positive and like you've given yourself this gift. Bank that and remember that feeling and go back to that on those days where you kind of don't feel up to it. And if you're not feeling up to it, maybe you still won't get the whole workout done. But just start it. And if 10 minutes in, you're still not feeling it, maybe it's not your day, or maybe it's your day to, if you've moved on to fundamental, maybe it's your day to go back to beginner that day. But I think it goes back to be proud of whatever you can get done that day, and always remember you're better for it, no matter what you choose to do that day.
Exactly. You're definitely not going to regret it.
Never.
What is important to you in your life that you would like to share with the Tamily?
This COVID has definitely changed perspective on what's important. Completely changed perspective. And it's going to make me emotional now. Health is everything. Health is everything, and never take health for granted. Control what you can control when it comes to your health, but never ever take your health for granted. And I think what I appreciate most is just hugs from my family members. Oh my gosh, not hugging my mom for so long was the hardest part. There were some days I just wanted to give my mom a hug. And my 95-year-old grandmother, I just want to give her a hug again. Because it's still, from where she's living, we're still only on socially distant visits. But hugs with loved ones and friends, and nieces and nephews, that's what's important, is time with family. That's my most important thing. And I guess that goes back to my health journey. That's why I aim to stay healthy, is because the longer I can do that in life, the longer I can be with family members and be with loved ones and give those hugs for as long as possible. That's all that's important to me. I think really everything's been put into perspective in the last few months, for sure.
Definitely. Absolutely. Especially the health scenario. And you just think about, like, without this method or something that, you're doing regularly, you wouldn't have that. And yeah, it's definitely been different becoming socially distant people.
Yeah.
For sure. What is the meaning of your Instagram handle?
Alexandra's my first name. And then the ELP, so E is my middle initial, Elizabeth. L is my maiden name, Leonie. And then P is my married name, Palucci. So very long.
I love it.
Two very Italian last names. So a lot of vowels, sometimes hard to pronounce. But that's the meaning. Yeah.
I am very partial to people with their real name in their Instagram handle.
Yeah.
I just love it. It makes it so much easier to know who people are.
Exactly.
Do you remember your first Instagram post?
Oh, my ever?
Yeah. Or Tamily related, either.
Tamily related, I remember. It was like a few months into streaming, and I had just gotten a new pair of shoes, and I was really excited. And I posted this super artistic picture of my shoes. And I had just gotten over a sinus infection. And so I took a picture of my feet, hashtagged it Tamily, and was like, can't wait to work out with my new shoes. And then Tracy commented, she said, like, cheers to feeling good or something like that.
Gosh.
And it was like, I was telling everyone. I like screenshotted the notification that Tracy had commented. I was sending it to family members. I was like, look. She saw my new shoes.
That is so funny. Oh my gosh. We all act that same way. That is hilarious.
And I have to say, those were the most uncomfortable shoes I ever worked out in. I wore them that once and never wore them for a workout again.
Oh my gosh. That is so funny. But
it's just to show there's Instagram and then there's reality.
Right. It got Tracy to comment, though. That is awesome.
Yeah.
You have such a cool Tamily journey. Like, to start in your 20s, that's like the biggest recommendation I would give anyone.
And yeah, if you have it,
comment, yeah.
Do it.
Absolutely. People need to begin this workout method much earlier. Let me see what else you haven't answered yet. You've answered almost all the questions. And we have a few minutes left. I don't think we have any other questions in the chat. Do you have a takeaway from a previous Ask Tamily interview that you can remember?
Oh, Courtney's most recently was my favorite. And there were so many in there.
Yeah.
It was just full of information. I think it was when you asked her what she's learned from Tracy. And she spoke at length about just quieting the noise. And she said something like, everyone's noise is different. And that for some reason really spoke to me. Because it's true, you hear it all the time, quiet the noise, quiet the noise, quiet the noise. But what's kind of distracting you from your end goal is going to be different than what's distracting someone else. And what's distracting you one month could be different the next month. So everyone's noise is different, but everyone's noise is different on a given day too. So you really have to be able to acknowledge and recognize it when it's getting in your way and kind of get it out of your way. So definitely Courtney's was the most recent one that I had so many takeaways from, but that was one of them for sure.
Courtney's was awesome. If we could interview Courtney every week, it could just be Ask Courtney.
Yeah.
We should try to put that in place. Let's see. Who else would you like us to interview on Ask Tamily?
I thought it. So getting back into dance cardio, I had never danced with Olivia Shaffer from our West Coast Tamily, super trainer Olivia Shaffer. I'd love to see her on here.
Okay.
I've been doing her kind of 15-minute cardio bonuses. She's like a firecracker. Oh my gosh, I'd love to get to know more about her.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Courtney was the first trainer that we interviewed, but I feel like it's got to make the rest of them want to be interviewed. So
I think so. And I think I'd love to know their journey of how they became trainers, how their kind of perspective has changed over their career as trainers. Yeah.
Absolutely. We will definitely start asking all the rest of the trainers and see who will be interviewed. Okay, I don't think we have any more questions in the chat. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the Tamily while you have this audience, or any questions that I didn't ask you that you wanted me to?
Nothing was left unasked, it felt like. Like everything was asked. Oh my gosh, well, like, shout out again to everyone who's been showing up these past few months. It's although a lot of us have just been home and have definitely maybe had the free time to work out, more free time than we're used to having. It was hard to make the decision to get up and do it. But also a lot of us were busier than we thought we'd be. I know a lot of you are homeschooling your kids or working from home alongside other people in your household working from home. So it's not easy, but thank goodness we had a workout that we could just open a laptop, open an iPad, and jump into whenever we needed to quiet the noise. So I hope it continues. I think it's made the connection of the Tamily that much stronger over these past few months. And we've definitely all become physically stronger because we know the classes that have been going up these past couple months. So hopefully, I know here in Toronto, I'm still not making my way to pools. I still haven't I think I've only worn a bathing suit once this year, but I'm excited to travel one day and wear bathing suits, and I can't wait for all of us to be able to travel again and strut our stuff on beaches in our own best bodies and our own kind of mentally healthy selves too.
Absolutely. That's an excellent goal.
Yeah.
Well, Alexandra, thank you so much for a super fun interview and being number 103 on Ask Tamily. We really enjoyed having you, and you have an excellent, inspiring story. I'm so glad that you shared it with us.
Thank you. This was the most fun way to spend this afternoon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Tamily. Have a great weekend, everyone.